All right, welcome back to the podcast. On episode 7 here, we get a UFC 319 preview. This will be coming out the day of UFC 319. Khamzat Chimaev, undefeated 14-0, going up against Dricus du Plessis, the two-time defending middleweight champion. He's knocked off Sean Strickland twice now, both by decision. He's knocked off Israel Adesanya, submitted him in round 4. He's beaten Robert Whittaker. These are all former middleweight champions. He now has to face the boogeyman of the middleweight division, Khamzat Chimaev, tomorrow night, I guess today when this comes out here, tonight in the Windy City of Chicago for UFC 319. This is my most anticipated fight of the calendar year. It's an immovable object going up against an unstoppable force. These two dudes are the best on the planet at middleweight. I'm super excited for this. And we bring in Evan Dvorslick, our UFC guru. He's a big UFC superfan. Knows what he's talking about. He knows all about fights. So he comes in here and gives his opinions on some of these main card events, including a prelim to watch out for tonight here in Chicago. And without further ado, let's get into it. All right, welcome back to the Mike and George Show, and today we are joined by a special guest here, our UFC guru, Evan Dvorslick. Welcome onto the podcast, Evan. Thanks for taking some time out of your day to talk some UFC 319 tomorrow. I know we're both excited about UFC 319, Chimaev versus du Plessis. And yeah, man, welcome to the podcast.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate you having me. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, awesome. So should we just go ahead and get right into the main event, or should we hit on some? Should we go prelims up to the main event, or should we just go ahead and hit the main event first?
There's really only one prelim I really care to talk about, and we can kind of then hit the main event bottom up if you want. Start with, I think Kaya Sakura leads us off. Just giving a quick shout out. Lupi Godinez fights on the prelims. I've been a fan of hers. I think back in COVID, she fought like back-to-back on Fight Island two nights in a row or something crazy like that. I've literally been a fan ever since. Don't think I've missed one of her fights. So she's fighting Jessica Andrade.
Andrade, yeah.
Huge fight for her. It really is. And for Lupi, like, she lost to Virna Jandiroba, who's going to fight next for the title.
Yeah,
and it was a competitive fight. And then she lost a tough one, I think, to Mackenzie Dern. But she's looked good. She beat Tabitha Ricci. And Andrade has kind of been on a slide lately. So going to go with my girl Lupi on this one.
Yeah, and Lupi, I think, I don't have the odds for that one. I think Lupi's like, is she a slight favorite or she's a slight underdog?
I think she is a slight favorite, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I try not to look at the odds all too much throughout fight week. But
right. Yeah, they've kind of fluctuated a little bit. I was going to talk about that in the main event, because I don't know if you're noticing the same thing. Because, well, I mean, I guess we can go right into the main event. I mean,
sure, why not?
I don't know about you. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. I don't know if I've been excited for a main event fight. I mean, I love all these main cards. You know, I was hyped for Poirier Holloway. Obviously, I love Charles, and Charles Ilya is awesome. Like, I've been hyped for all these. You know, Bilal, whatever. But this one right here, man, Dricus du Plessis, the middleweight champion of the world, and Khamzat Chimaev. This feels like, you know, an immovable object meets you know what I mean? Like, it's one of those fights where it's just like, it just has everything that I want to see in a fight. And I'm really thankful that Chimaev is actually healthy. He made weight today and all that other stuff. But I don't know if you saw this when, maybe I'm wrong. When the fight odds came out, I thought it was a pick'em. But now I look at it today, Chimaev is minus 240 on Hard Rock.
I saw that. It's been going towards Chimaev recently. A lot of money coming in that way.
Yeah, I mean, is that like, I mean, look, Chimaev is maybe the most dangerous guy in the sport on any, you know, weight class. But Dricus du Plessis, he's defended his belt twice now. He's won the title 3 times. He beat Strickland twice. One of them, you know, he humiliated Strickland. He submitted, you know, Israel Adesanya. He knocked out Robert Whittaker. Is he not getting enough respect?
No, he's not. He's not. So, you know, Dricus du Plessis' last 4 wins have come against former UFC champions.
Yes.
Right? Khamzat Chimaev, don't get me wrong, is an absolute force.
Animal. Yes.
Animal, right? But Dricus du Plessis is the middleweight champion of the world. He's absolutely getting disrespected in this fight. You know, he puts pressure on you in ways that other people just don't. And for a guy like Khamzat, he could get you out of there in the first round. Don't get me wrong. 100%, I could see a Khamzat Chimaev submission in the first round. Yeah. I don't think he's ever stood on the ground for long or stood on the feet longer than a minute with anyone before getting him on the ground. So you're not. Du Plessis is not getting away from the takedown. No. He's going to get taken down. You have to accept the fact that you're probably going to get taken down. You're probably going to get taken down early. You've got to survive the first round. but I think he can do that. Just don't get submitted, and then let's take Chimaev into deep waters and see what's up.
And
you know what I mean? Like, I think back to the Derek Brunson fight.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I think back to the Derek Brunson fight where Du Plessis is like getting it whipped pretty bad early.
Yeah.
And comes back and absolutely mauls Derek Brunson to the point where they got to throw in the towel.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And Du Plessis finishes fights, and he finishes strong, and he can go 5 rounds. And I don't know if Chimaev can. So
we haven't seen. That's right. I mean, guys who have gotten out of round 1 against Chimaev. I think back to Gilbert Drino Burns, and that fight was a war. And even Kamaru Usman on short notice, got out of the first round. He was getting whooped in the first round by Chimaev, but he's able to make it a very competitive 3-round fight. But yeah, I mean, obviously, we all know that Chimaev can get you out of there in round 1. He can get you out of there in the first minute. He's that scary, and he will take down. Now, Dricus is a big middleweight. This isn't like an average middleweight guy.
Big dude.
He's huge for a middleweight, no doubt about it. But Chimaev, this dude is
came in underweight, by the way. Came in at 183.
Yes, exactly. Exactly right. Yeah, but man, it just feels like the relentless pressure of Chimaev against the weird, unorthodox style of Dricus. I honestly don't know how it's going to match up in it. If you told me, Chimaev got him out of there within 3 minutes and submitted him on the ground, I'd be like, yeah, I mean, I'm not shocked. The guy's an animal.
Would not be surprised one bit. Would not be surprised. If you're going to bet on this fight, if you want to bet on Khamzat, bet on a first-round sub.
Exactly.
That's where I'd go with my money right there.
100%.
I think that's probably the safest bet, really, if you want to be smart with your money.
Yeah, no minus 240. Just go ahead and take a round 1 submission. That's probably how the method of victory will be.
Right.
And like you said, if Dricus can survive round 1, the dude is not only live to win the fight, but that it becomes probably a Dricus advantage. If he can get
like you said, Gilbert Burns and Kamaru Usman, as the fight goes on, they 100%. Start having success. Chimaev's not decent striker. Obviously knocked out Gerald Meerschaert early, but Gerald Meerschaert felt scared.
Yeah.
He can listen. He can crack now. He can crack, but at the end of the day, like, they have success as the fight goes on, and this is 5 rounds, and obviously he's never been 5, but
no.
I think Dricus has the potential and the ability to drag him into those deep waters and potentially get a finish late, just because of unrelenting pressure and pace from him that Chimaev can't keep up for that long of a fight.
Yeah, it happened against Adesanya. That was a very competitive first 3 rounds, and then you saw the pressure of Du Plessis just kind of got. He caught him, and then that was it. At that point, it was like, the guy just stops. He never stops moving forward. It almost looks like some of the stuff he's throwing. It's like, oh, is Dricus tired? Is he gassed? Is he like is he winded? And then it's like, no, this is actually just how he fights, and it just works.
Yep.
Somehow it just works. And again, you don't beat 4 middleweight champions by accident. That doesn't happen by accident. But man, it just feels like, and like I'm not betting on the fight because, like you said, it's just a tough one for me. I don't know how it'll go. Like, if you told me either one happened, I wouldn't be shocked. But I do think Chimaev probably should be the slight favorite. Minus 240, I don't know about that. Yep. But he's a scary dude. But if there's anyone that... Now, here's an interesting proposition. Before we get to the co-main here, if Dricus does win, what would be next for him? Because, he's kind of mopped... Like you said, he's beaten Robert Whittaker. He's beaten...
There's 2 guys, really.
Is it
and I was going to talk about this with the Cannonier fight. There's 2 guys. It's Imavov and it's Bahalio, Kyle Bahalio. Those 2 guys.
Yeah. Nasruddin Imavov
and Bahalio weighed in as the backup, I think, for this fight. So it's those 2 dudes. I think Imavov fights in Paris, right?
Yes. UFC.
So he's going to fight in Paris. If he wins that fight, he's probably in line. He can probably wait his shot for a title. And Bahalio, again, like, he's got a lot of hype around him. Can he get a title shot next? I don't know. He's probably a fight away. But those are the 2 dudes, right, at middleweight. Like, in 185, those are your 2 guys that are, like, next, if you're really thinking about it,
Yeah, the middleweight's very interesting because, like, if you just look at the rankings, it's like, Nasruddin Imavov right there would be next in line, you would think. Reiner DeRitter beating Whittaker.
DeRitter, I totally forgot about DeRitter.
Right, DeRitter, like, it would have been, because, Whittaker was like a fight away, at least from people were saying. If Whittaker had won that fight, and that was a split decision.
Well, and Whittaker gets Dana White privilege, too, because... he's a former champion, and so that's an easy sell. You beat DeRitter, you can go ahead and get, promotionally. I think that's a lot of what people forget sometimes is, like, at the end of the day, this is a promotion, and they're trying to make fights that sell. And people like Robert Whittaker, they get different privileges over a guy like Nasruddin Imavov who might have to work for that title shot,
100%, no doubt about it. And then, like I said, if Chimaev wins, I don't think this will be the last time these guys fight each other in the octagon. I don't see that happening. Like, I'm not so sure it's an immediate rematch, but I mean, hey, if Dricus has defended his belt enough times now where, if he loses to Chimaev, first of all, there's nothing to...
It'll be an immediate rematch.
He'll get the immediate, he'll get the immediate rematch for sure. Again,
we live in the era of rematches. Like, he'll get it.
Of course. So yeah, this won't be the last time these guys fight, I don't think.
Right. No,
Um,
I agree with that. I don't think this is the last time these guys fight.
but man, I'm excited for this first one because I don't know how it's gonna go. Well, okay, we'll go into the co-main now. So it's Lerone Murphy against Aaron Pico. Aaron
Aaron
Pico is
Pico.
making his UFC debut. He's minus
Yep.
165. Lerone Murphy, how close?
Undefeated.
That's what I'm saying. Undefeated. You rarely see an undefeated underdog in a fight,
Mhm.
but we have one here. What's your thoughts on this fight? Because this was like the late add to the card. Remember, we
Yep.
had no co-main for like a month, and everyone's like, guys, we're a month away from UFC 319.
Yep.
Where's the co-main in Chicago? Well, here it is. Lerone Murphy against Aaron Pico. What do we think about that fight? I mean, it's kind of like a
It's gonna
not
be a good fight, man. I might have been against Lerone Murphy in his last couple fights, but man, he's proved me wrong.
yeah,
The guy's a dog.
he's a dog.
Aaron Pico, I have strong feelings about other promotions outside of the UFC. Um, Even the best ones, right? They struggle when the talent level in the UFC is just different. It really just is.
Yeah.
I went to a PFL fight not too long ago, like I think back in April. I went to one of their events, and it's just the level of competition, even at their highest level, doesn't really quite compare. And that's going to be the test, right? Like you've got an undefeated UFC prospect, Lerone Murphy, who's climbing his way up the rankings, just taking people out of his way. And now you got Aaron Pico stepping in there. It's like we're going to find out a lot about Aaron Pico. Like if he can take Lerone Murphy out of there, he's the real deal. You know what I mean? I think we're going to find out a lot about both guys in this fight. It's going to be a good one.
We have another guy on this main card. Not to get to Kai Asakura, but hey, he just fought. The last time we saw him, he was getting submitted by Alessandro Pantoja in his first UFC fight. It's a UFC debut, and they threw him right into the title fight against maybe the best.
Well, and listen, Pantoja's a dog.
He's a dog.
Listen,
that's the best flyweight on the planet.
I don't put whatever stock you will into that. He might have gotten thrown into deep waters a little early,
right?
But don't take any. I mean, Pantoja's that dude.
No, Pantoja's the best flyweight on the planet, and that's why like I said, it is a different level of cats you're dealing with.
Different.
When you go to the UFC, and not only just the UFC, the top ranked guys in the UFC. I mean, this isn't just they didn't just throw him to any flyweight. They gave him the best flyweight on planet Earth,
right?
In Pantoja. So yeah. I mean, it's a different level of ballgame. Patchy Mix, made
Patchy Mix. It's different.
It's just different. Yeah, you're not gonna have that. You're totally right. You're very different.
Even Michael Chandler, like we probably got Michael Chandler after his prime, but even Michael Chandler, like it's different.
Yeah, the guys hit different on the UFC, 100%.
The talent level, the well-roundedness, it's, those guys you might find an elite wrestler, an elite striker, but everybody's a trained killer in every aspect when you get into the top 10, top 15 in the UFC.
Yeah, that's why that's another fight. I don't really know how it's going to go because I don't know enough about Aaron Pico to lay money on a fight that I really, I can't. Yeah, we'll see. But he's, again, favored in your UFC debut. The guy must be, uber talented.
Does a lot, right?
Yeah, he's got a lot of skills. But so Jeff Hands of Steel Neal, can he pull off? He's an underdog in this fight. He's on the main card.
Carlos Protesz, baby.
I love watching Jeff Neal, and that's maybe just a me thing, but I like watching Jeff Neal. This is an interesting fight that just feels like it's a good main card fight. I mean, this is gonna be a scrap. I mean, what do we think about Jeff Neal and Carlos Protesz?
Jeff Neal always puts on good fights, man.
Exactly.
Always puts on good fights.
Good watch.
It's going to be a good one. I like Protesz a lot. His fight against Ian Gary. Ian Gary kind of showed levels in that fight a little bit. Protesz still probably has a little bit to learn. But this is kind of that stepping stone fight for him. It's can he get past Jeff Neal? Jeff Neal's been in the top 15 for the past 10 years almost. Yes. Right? Like he's been a guy that's been in contention for a long time. Hasn't quite gotten up to the championship level yet, but he's fighting guys all around that are, up and down inside the top 10. So it's going to be a really good fight. I think I probably give the edge to Protesz here. I think he's younger. He's got more skills. I don't know if I've been convinced even in Jeff Neal's last win or two. So I think I'm going to go with Protesz here. I don't know if he can get the finish. It might go all 3 rounds.
I think it'll go
take
3,
15 minutes. But I think I'm going to go Protesz here.
Yeah, it feels like Jeff Neal's one of those guys you have to beat in order to get yourself. Like you said, he's been in the top 15 for it feels like the last decade. So, if you're like a younger up and coming guy that wants to get a title shot, you have to go through Jeff Neal eventually to get there. I do think he'll beat Jeff Neal. I think it'll be a good competitive 3-round fight though, as most Jeff Neal fights are.
Right.
But this next one, I'm like, this is an interesting matchup. I don't know how Cannonier is going to match up with Michael Venom Page. This is like a Michael Venom Page. Obviously, we know is one of the toughest guys to prepare for because he's so
very interesting fight.
Very interesting fighter to deal with. Cannonier, obviously an awesome middleweight for many years. Got a title shot against Izzy way back when. So, this isn't, again, he's plus 160. MVP is minus 200. Last time we saw MVP, he took the 0 away from Charlotte Bullet's undefeated record. Now he has a loss. So MVP is just a tough guy to deal with, as we know. So what what could Cannonier do? I mean, he's a slight underdog, but that's
So
a
here's my prediction for this fight, and call me crazy here, right? I'm a big believer in styles make fights,
yes.
right? It's gonna be interesting to see how these two styles match up, right? Michael Venom Page very in and out. I don't know if Cannonier is the type of dude that's going to stalk you down and just go get after you. I mean, he looked really good against Gregory Rodriguez,
Yeah, I did.
right? And if you really think back at Cannonier's career over the last 4 years, 3, 4 years, right? He's done one of two things. Either he loses to the best or he mauls you. He's
Yes.
lost 3 fights. He's lost to Izzy, he's lost to Imavov, and he's lost to Bahalio. Those are his 3 losses in the last like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Izzy, Bahalio, and Imavov.
Two of
Every
those
other
guys we just
fight,
mentioned are next
he's
in line.
mauled. He
Right.
looks like a killer in there. They call him the Killer Gorilla. He looks like a killer in there.
I mean, what he did
when
to
he's
Marvin
not up
Vettori.
against some of those guys.
Yeah, what he did to Marvin Vettori. I mean, it was like, oh, this guy is like, when he's on, he's maybe one of the most
on.
dangerous.
And so, it'll be interesting to see which version of Jared Cannonier shows up, because there's one where he looks like he's on, and there's one where he looks like he's a little stagnant, not really kind of going for it, taking time to get his reads. Maybe MVP is going to throw him off with his speed and timing.
Yeah.
Kevin Holland said he was fast as shit.
Yeah, Kevin Holland looked a little bit like, wait, what are all these feints? These like it was very strange fighting him. And I think that was MVP's first fight in the UFC, so it was just a weird
kind of get a read on the guy, right? If Cannonier wants to have success, I think one thing he's going to probably have to do is kind of grapple him a little bit and not necessarily take him down, but wear him down against the cage.
Yeah.
Right? Don't let him work at space. Get in tight. Make it dirty. Push him up against the cage. Don't let him kick you. Control him against the cage. Hit him with dirty shots in tight. Control most of the round. Like, that's where I see a possible path to victory for Cannonier.
That was kind of like the Ian Machado Gary. It was kind of an ugly fight.
Yeah, really Gary, the same type of.
It was a lot of grappling,
game plan, right?
Near the cage. It was not like a pretty fight that people were like, oh, but it was not like a bad fight either. It was just one of those
right.
It was
that's ugly. Just how it played out, and that's where I think if Cannonier wants a shot, if he's not just going to come out guns a-blazing trying to take the dude's head off, right? It's probably that. Otherwise, MVP is probably going to be a lot. It's a lot of movement, a lot of feints, unorthodox styles that he hasn't really seen, and MVP is really good, man. So, I think there is a path to victory for Cannonier, but like you said, MVP is a slight favorite for a reason. Right. So that's probably where I lean.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I just love this main card. I mean, it's not to take anything away from Dustin's last fight last month. I thought it was an awesome to go back to New Orleans was great. But overall, the main card, I wasn't like super jacked for, other than the main event, which was Poirier Holloway 3. But the rest of the main card, I wasn't like totally jacked for. This one, I'm like, there's some bangers on here. Like there's some fights on here. That I'm like, yeah, like some of these could be like main event for fight night kind of card. I mean, kind of fights. So yeah, I mean, like we have Kaya Sakura on the he's on the main card. Last time we saw him, he was in a title fight. So I mean, these guys. I mean, a lot of these guys are a win away from being in a title contention. So, and then obviously you have Chimaev against Du Plessis. Like I said, to go back to this one to wrap it up, I cannot wait for this matchup. So what's your overall prediction for the matchup? I think I'm gonna go Chimaev, but I think it would be a round 1 submission. I mean, that's kind of what we assume would happen if he wins. So it feels like a round 1 submission for Chimaev, which is not anything. That's not taking anything away from Dricus Du Plessis. That's just kind of, you're dealing with an animal who's like the best round 1 fighter in the history of the UFC.
Correct.
That's not like a Dricus thing. So it feels like either a round 1 Chimaev win, or Dricus drags him into deep water, and if we get into round 3, maybe you're like, wait, what's going on in this fight? This is not how we thought it'd play out. But it's the other way, that maybe it's Dricus now kind of wearing him down, like So it's very interesting. I think I'm gonna go Chimaev just as a safe bet, because Chimaev round 1 submission is not like a crazy.
No, it's not otherworldly at all. No, but for me, I think I'm gonna go with DDP. I think he can get it done. I think one thing I heard, and John Anik says this on the podcast all the time. He says it on air. When a fighter wins the championship, they become like 80% better. Their confidence rises. They find a different level, right? And that's where Dricus has been. And even when Dricus was, he had a deviated septum, and he had that fixed. And he said ever since he's gotten that fixed, he's been a different animal. His cardio is on a different level. And I think he can get out of that first round with Chimaev. I think he can do it. I think he might even lose the second round, right? But that third round, that fourth round, Chimaev's going to get tired. I promise you. If we can get there, he's going to get tired. And I think Dricus can find a way to get it done. One thing he's probably gonna have to do is I think back to the Gilbert Burns fight. He gets taken down. Gilbert Burns doesn't accept that position.
Nope.
He's sitting there with hammer fists in the guard, beating the crap out of Chimaev. And Chimaev didn't want to be there.
No, he
did not want to be there. He said, you know what? Cool. Let's get up. We can strike.
Yeah.
And that, I think there's ways that he can get it done. I see a path to victory for DDP. That's where I'm going to go. I'm going to say, and still.
So there's definitely a path. So you think it's going to be by decision, or do you think he maybe gets him in a round 4, round 5 championship rounds, or?
I think it probably, if Dricus is going to do it late, it's probably going to be by a finish.
Yeah.
I'm going to go by finish in round 4 or round 5. Late finish for DDP.
Late finish for DDP. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it could go either way, and I wouldn't be shocked. And that's how awesome
agreed.
This fight is.
It's neck and neck.
Yeah, and to go back to your point about when you have the belt, like we saw in the first in Dricus Sean 1, it was it was very close fight. It was split decision. Then you get Dricus when he has the belt, and it looked like a totally different fighter. I mean, it was
totally different, dude.
You see with Marab and Sean the first time, and then Marab comes back, with the belt, and he's just mauling guys. Now he looks like one of the best. He looks like one of the best fighters on the planet Earth. He already was, but now he has the belt, and it looks different. It feels different. He looks like 80% more the fighter than he was before he had the belt, and he was already good before then. So, like you said, it is a different thing when you have the belt. But who better than Chimaev as a challenger to possibly get the belt from him? It feels like this is the guy. Dricus is.
He's been the boogeyman for the last 4 years.
Exactly right.
Everyone's been talking about him.
And Dricus has bulldozed through the whole middleweight, and it feels like this is the last real challenge. And because this is a real challenge. I mean, you wouldn't be an underdog with the belt defending 2-time undisputed middleweight champion for a reason. But this guy is the toughest task in the division, no doubt about it. So it's going to be an awesome fight tomorrow night. I can't wait for it. I love that they're going back to Chicago. They haven't been to Chicago in a long time, it feels like.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, love that it's in the Windy City. I thought it was going to go to like Abu Dhabi or maybe Australia. They like doing that Australia. So I'm glad that it's back in the States. That's pretty cool, and it's not Vegas, So
it's not at the Apex. Thank God we're not at the Apex.
Thank God it's not the Apex. But yeah, that's pretty cool. But overall, man, thanks for hopping on the podcast today. We got to talk some UFC 319, which again, like I said, it's one of my most anticipated fights of the calendar year, no doubt about it. So yeah, looking forward to seeing what happens tomorrow night. But yeah, thanks Evan for hopping on the podcast and talking some fights with us.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate it. It was good.
All right, appreciate it, man.
Have a good one, man.